All right, my YouTube people, y'all are probably wondering, why am I standing in an empty field with gravel? That is why. So I just got done filming a review video on the 2022 Fat Bob, which you see right here before me, for Speedway Harley-Davidson. So make sure you go check that video out as well. It'll be a link to that video down in the description, where I took it on some back roads, some curvy roads, and tested out the performance on this thing. So real quick right now, I'm about to get some bomb photos of the bike right here. So let's get that out the way. Got my camera in here. And I'm gonna sit my bag right there. Now, if you're interested in seeing any of the photos we take of the motorcycles, make sure you follow Speedway Harley-Davidson's Instagram as well as Facebook. That's where I post most of the pictures. I don't post too many of them on my page. It's kind of muddy over here too. Most of the pictures I post on my page are just done different type of photos, but all of the new Harleys are posted on Speedway's page. Oh my, these are gonna come out so amazing. You got the sun at the right spot. I'm loving this. Come on now. Give it to me, girl. Give it to me. Woo! This is fire. I love taking pictures of motorcycles. They work with me perfectly. They pose exactly how I want them. I don't have to complain or fight with them. I'm trying to go for this apocalyptic look. Let me cut her off so she'll start back up. So real quick, before we head back over to the dealership, the 2022 Fat Bob. If you look at this motorcycle, it's not your typical Harley-Davidson. We all see that. It's got the rectangular headlight, and it's got that aggressive, I'll say, like, it's just a totally different look. It looks like it's meant to be in some type of post-apocalyptic time frame. That's why I chose right here to come do pictures of it. But it's got a sick look to it. If you look at the bike, I love the styling of this. And as you all know, I usually like the most hated Harley-Davidsons out of all of them, such as the V Rod. I was a fan of the FXDR until I rode it. When I rode it, I didn't like it. It kind of sucks. But the Fat Bob, I love the look of this thing. It looks good. That's a bad looking bike. Like, I would own this and I would ride it on a regular. It's extremely comfortable. Check out that other video. You'll see what I mean. Now, you're going to get that 114 Milwaukee 8 motor in there, and you're going to get that relaxed, aggressive seating position. Now, from a consumer standpoint, who do I feel like would be interested in this type of bike? There we go. Well, I'll tell you right now, definitely me. I could see myself riding one of these. Let me turn around, try not to get into that mud. The things I do to get some really cool photos, I tell you. Let's go, baby. So the bike, you can tell just from throwing a leg over it that this motorcycle is designed for performance. It's going to be your performance-oriented Harley-Davidson. You know, it's got plenty of lower lumbar support to lock you into the saddle when you're ripping on the throttle. The foot pegs feel a little bit higher up than some of your other Harley-Davidsons. And the styling of it alone, just looking at the bike, makes you want to ride the shit out of it. Like, look how it handles the corners. It does tremendously well with cornering. Like, it's not going to be your just standard cruiser. It's just not. It's going to be that performance-oriented cruiser, which there are quite a few riders looking for nowadays. Now, why they ain't picking up a Fat Bob, I have no idea, because the styling, the performance, You know, in the rear, the suspension seems like it's a little bit taller. It may not be, but there's a nice gap between that rear wheel and the fender, which is going to give you more travel, in my opinion. But the bike wants to be flicked around, and you wouldn't think that. That's cool as hell. You wouldn't think that when you see that it has a 150 front tire. Some people would be like, oh, it doesn't lean over as good as it should. No, this bike will lean over without an issue. I feel the wind, so I know y'all are hearing it. Now, earlier today I rode my V Rod into work, and it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but it's more comfortable, it's more refined, and you can tell that this thing wants to go to the twisties. That's where it wants to go. It'll do fine in the city and on these backcountry roads like I'm on right now, but it wants to go to the twisties. It's like, take me to the mountains, let's go carve some canyons. And you wouldn't typically expect a Harley-Davidson to tell you that's what it wants to do. But I'm gonna tell you, that is what, I don't think that's my street. I think it's the next one. Nope, that was it. Let me turn around. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that is what this one wants to do. It wants to go to some mountains, some twisties. It wants to carve. It wants to be ridden. All right, let me circle back. I got to work on these low speed maneuvers, somebody told me, but I think I do pretty good on the low speed maneuvers. Woo! Oh yeah. This bike is amazing. Now, I'm just like every other Harley-Davidson rider. Not a lot of people pay attention to this bike or look at it. But once you throw a leg over it, you have no choice but to pay attention to this bike. You have to pay attention to this machine. Like, it's ridiculous. The performance, the fun. It just wants to go. Like, look. That's why it has that upswept exhaust in the rear, so that you're not scraping up the exhaust, because it wants you to curve and to carve and to be on twisties. This is not one of those typical muscle bikes that's going to be a straight line bike. This bike is meant to maneuver, meant to flick it over. It feels nimble, and it's just a blast to ride. And the styling alone, I love the styling of this bike. But if you've never ridden one, you wouldn't know these things. So I suggest, almost past my turn, so I suggest that if you're in the Concord area or anywhere in North Carolina and you can make it up to Speedway Harley-Davidson, swing by, throw a leg over one, see what it feels like. If you're out of state somewhere far off, swing by your local Harley-Davidson dealership, throw a leg over it, take it for a spin, see what it feels like. Sometimes it's good to step outside the box and have something that looks a lot different. I myself am a huge believer in that. I don't know if y'all can see it, but my V Rod is sitting right over there. That's not a Harley that most people would have. But comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this motorcycle. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. That'll put a smile on my face. Like this video and hit that bell notification. But I'm going to check you out in that next one. Deuces.
Just